Those stupid thumbnails. Hello. Let me get this chat up so that I can see. And I actually made a list today of things that I wanted to talk about, so I am more prepared than usual. Yay me! But now I have to find my list. Oh, that looks bad. Okay, cool. So I put these things down in the description because, you know, these are just some things that I thought of today that I wanted to maybe get to, so hopefully we get to them. Hello, everyone. So, okay, the first thing that I wanted to talk about, a friend of mine sent me this really goofy video or movie, but it's really interesting. It's about suppressed human history, which is something that was super interesting to me in my reading in the last year. A couple books that I read, one was The Secret History of the World, and there were a couple others I can't think of, but they all kind of had the same theme of this esoteric knowledge of real human history. And a lot of them really kind of, you know, were weaving together in a really nice way and making me kind of think about what it is we actually know about our history, like the history of the world even, and the history of humanity, and all of these things that all of these anomalies that we have in the world that don't fit into that, and how, you know, with that many things that don't fit into the narrative that we have of where we came from and what happened with the earth and everything. It's like, shouldn't we kind of re-examine those? So there's this really goofy movie. It's the first thing that I linked below. Hopefully that worked. And it's got kind of like funny animation, and it's about an hour long, a little bit more than that. But I felt like it was really good, so I wanted to recommend it to you guys. And they talk about things like Lumerians and, you know, the sinking of Atlantis and, you know, Thoth and all of that stuff. And I know that some people have you know, a lot of us are very tied to our belief systems or whatever. I'm not so much anymore. I used to be. In fact, one of my things was that I was so turned off by religion, and so, you know, in particular the Catholic Church, even though I was raised Catholic somewhat, that I kind of threw the baby out with the bathwater, in that I wasn't open to really any of those things in the Bible. But now I'm kind of looking at all of that stuff with new eyes, and it's very interesting, and it all does seem to kind of tie together. And I see a lot of people clutching to certain ideas, like that ETs can't exist at the same time as like Jesus's message, you know, whatever. I kind of think that it all makes sense. Flat Earth. You know, I brought Flat Earth up before. I don't think so, but again, I think the most important thing that I've realized over this last year is not to have an attitude about any of these things like I know either way. Yeah, certainly it doesn't seem like that to me, but you know what? If somebody came to me tomorrow with some evidence of that, whatever, I'm not going to say I have any of those answers, because truly none of us do. But I really liked this. I really liked this little animated movie that I put down below, and it reminded me of one of the things they talk about was the migration of the people of Mars to Earth, and that was something that I was super interested in when they declassified that CIA document from 1984, I think, where they were using people to remote view a bunch of different things. I put a link to that below too, an article about it, and then also the CIA document where they had this guy remote view Mars like 1 million years ago BC or something, whatever, and was talking about how the people of that planet were basically looking for a new place to live because their planet had been destroyed. So that whole thing kind of ties into this. And also it was a very strange document just as is, because it was once upon a time classified. And I think that the, everybody wants to talk about my stupid painting. I think that it's interesting when they declassify stuff like this, because I saw a quote the other day that was something along the lines of, they have to hide the little things, but the big things they can kind of put out because, you know, our consciousness won't grasp it anyway. So it's like it doesn't even matter. But anyway, it would be interesting if the CIA was remote viewing Mars a million years ago. And that ties into my little movie. And the article was also pretty interesting, I thought. I think it's a Gaia article or whatever. And I'm not too familiar with Gaia, but I have read a couple articles on there and liked it. But it reminded me of something really interesting that I heard. And that was that, because we were talking about the CIA was using people that already kind of had, you know, abilities in ESP and all of those things to train them to be able to astral project and to remote view. So on the topic of ESP and all of this kind of psychic connection that we should have, they actually talk about that in the animated movie too. Like basically that at one time we were able to psychically communicate with each other, and then, you know, as our skulls hardened more and the pineal gland moved further back into our brains and stuff, we basically got cut off from each other almost completely. And in some of these books, it kind of talks about how that was Jesus's purpose, was he came here then because we were in danger of being cut off from each other completely. So then there's the element of talking about whether or not, you know, we are where we're supposed to be as far as our spiritual evolution, if you want to call it that. You know, because there are some of these people that are born with ESP or these heightened senses or these abilities. Like another one of the books I read last year was about Uri Geller, who was a guy that, you know, lived, I think in the 70s and 80s. He was on TV a lot, bending spoons with his mind. And some people were telling, some people had stories that, like, even when they were watching him on TV in their own homes, things were moving around their house. But that's a very interesting phenomenon, that some of these people are born with these abilities and science can't explain it, whatever. But maybe we're all supposed to kind of have those abilities at this point, but we've been kind of thwarted, you know, maybe by stuff that has been intentionally done to us, and that we don't have these abilities. But the interesting thing that I heard was that we should be able to psychically communicate with each other, have, you know, just be able to have instantaneous thought and be able to reach each other at this point, but we've been thwarted. So it's almost like that Jurassic Park thing where life finds a way. So we don't have that ability, so we invented the internet. And so, like, the internet is kind of our external version of that. So, like, you know, I thought that was totally mind-blowing and interesting, that this is what we, that maybe that's why we have invented the internet. Maybe, like, there are other, you know, Earths out there with people with these abilities, or maybe they've been thwarted too and they've all discovered their own internet. Oh, the moderator thing reminds me of something that I wanted to bring up. As you'll see, a few of you have already made moderators without even asking you, just because I wanted to, because I have, so far with this channel, I have, you know, the Edge of Wonder guys graciously have thrown me a bone here, and I know that most of my followers come from them. Also, Enoch, if you follow him on Twitter, he's plugged me a bunch. I know I got a bunch of followers from him. And basically all the people that have found me on my channel so far have found me either through those two avenues or because they've searched for QAnon or the Great Awakening, etc. So basically everybody that's here, for the most part, is either already on this path, already knows about some of this stuff, or is open to it, right? Which is another reason why I think everybody here has been so lovely. So this all might change very soon because I have my regular Instagram and my regular Twitter that I've got, I don't know, a few thousand, like 12,000 followers on each of them. And I have not announced this channel on there yet, for a number of reasons. One is that I just wanted to kind of get the ball rolling. I wasn't really sure what I was doing with this. But the other thing is that those are not the people that, you know, that is a completely different demographic. And I have learned that the hard way by some of the things that I've tried to put on there. It was not, let's say, received very well. So it's been something that's made me kind of nervous about announcing my channel over there and getting those people over here, because I know once I do, the troll floodgates are going to open. I mean, not saying that they're all bad people. They're a bunch of lovely people. But it is, you know, it's kind of a goofy thing to most people. Most people are not on the same page as far as all the stuff that I talk about. And so it definitely is going to change the atmosphere in here. So I'm like, I better make some moderators before I do that. So I have been making some of you moderators. If I've had like conversations with you, maybe outside of YouTube or in the comments or whatever, sometimes I'll just be like, I'll make this person a moderator because I need allies. Not so much to keep out, actually not at all to keep out dissenting opinions, because I want people to be able to talk about those things freely. But I think that something does happen when, I think there's kind of an inorganic thing. Once I get that kind of attention from a bunch of people that aren't into this stuff, I think that it is, you know, I think along with that will come things that will kind of disrupt the conversation, and that's the only thing that I'm worried about. So if I've made you a moderator, and I still might make more of you moderators, if I've made you a moderator, again, if somebody's disagreeing with me or, you know, calling me stupid or whatever, I don't care. You can leave those comments, or even if they're, you know, degrading, whatever. But if it's something that you think is like disruptive or I don't know, man, these trolls have ways of just like you know, being annoying, I guess, and making it not so fun for everybody else that's in on the conversation. So, but yeah, this is so far a really positive community. I'm really grateful for that, and you guys are awesome. And I'm not expecting to explode in subs at all, actually, because while I've got a kind of decent following on those platforms, I really don't think it's going to translate over here. They might check out a video or two, but like I said, I don't think that is really the demographic that's ready to hear some of this stuff. But at the same time, the entire reason I'm doing this is not to sit here in an echo chamber, even though this is a lot of fun, talking with people that get most of these things and are already researching them for themselves. The point is to get new eyes on these conversations. So I'm just gonna have to do it. And I don't know when that's gonna happen, probably once I get at least my first media video up, which I re-recorded today. I keep like meaning to record it, and then new stuff will happen that I want to add to it, and I'm like, shoot. And I've done it like this is the third time I've recorded it today, because I keep wanting to add more stuff, even though there's going to be a part 2 coming. There's like one part in particular in the beginning that I just wanted to add more to. I will make you a mod right now. Watch this magic. Let me see if I know how to do this. Make a moderator. There you go, Blammy. Oh, troll whack-a-mole, that would be fun. Read a book that David Wilcock said he got much from, that remote viewer book that talked about the Martian colonies near Santa Fe. But I love in David Wilcock's book, The Ascension Mysteries, the end of that has just this rapid fire talk about different kinds of ETs, and I was literally in tears reading about, I don't know why. I don't know, it was so goofy. Like, he's talking about all these different kinds of species, I guess you would call them, and their different mannerisms and the way that they look and all that stuff. But I think it was in that book, he talks about how one of the things that they do, they really like to gamble, and that they will shut down certain casinos in Las Vegas for extraterrestrials to have ET gambling parties. And I don't know how true that is, but I believe him, and I think that's really fun. Okay, so aside from that that video that I posted, there were also a couple people on Twitter that I haven't mentioned before that I wanted to kind of call your attention to or just recommend. One of them is Brian Cates, Cates, and I think his thing is at Draw and Strike, and I've got his link down below too. He's not a Q guy necessarily. In fact, I think he doesn't really jive with Q, or so he says. He doesn't like it. I don't know. I don't remember what his official stance is on it, but everything that he posts is completely in line with what Q talks about, and he is really smart. He puts things together really well, and he's also very good at speaking plainly. So if you're a dummy like me, it's really great. So he's a great person to follow if you're interested in this stuff, and even if you're like solely interested in Q, he's still a great follow because he is posting about some of these same things. And the other is Brenden Dilley. I also have his link down below. Again, Brenden Dilley he does talk about Q. Actually, I think for a little while there, he was kind of off of the Q train, so to speak. And then he kind of got back on, but he's not like full gun-ho, Q dude. But again, he's got great information, and he talks about all of these same things. I forget that a lot of people knew a lot of this stuff before Q came along, so even though Q is kind of shining a light on this for a lot of us, including myself, some of these people know this information and have eyes on it before Q even existed. So even though these aren't really Q accounts, they really are a wealth of information. Brenden Dilley does a live show, as far as I know, I think just about every weekday. And early in the morning, I think like 10 Pacific or something like that. He is not gentle, let's say. He's so funny, and he gets me so amped up. I'll listen to him in the morning while I drink my coffee, and I'm just like, I get like just pumped up when I listen to him. But he is not your gentler voice. So I know I've mentioned before how so many different people out there talking about Q. It's great because we all have our different voices and our different approaches or whatever. He's definitely like the going all the way there approach. And, he makes no apologies about how much he loves Trump and MAGA and all of that. So if you're still kind of on the outskirts and still one of those people that's having a hard time getting aboard on that, listen anyway. Honestly, listen anyway, because your instinct might be to, and he swears a lot, which I kind of love, but not a lot of people do. Just a warning. But he's really funny, and again, he's really smart, and he has called so much stuff. I've been watching him for a while. I don't actually watch him all the time because I can't. I wish I could. But he is just super funny, and he's great. So, and I think he's got 2 accounts, and I'm not really sure which one he posts his live chat to. Probably the Dilley Show one, or whichever one I linked. I don't remember which one I linked. But I really love that. Yes, and Robot Interiors is still a treasure trove of information. And she's just on Instagram, at Robot Interiors. She really does a great job of putting stuff together and being timely, and when something is freshly being reported on, she's right on it, and I love that. So yeah, Mark Levin, anything on Fox News, I find it's like an instant turn off for some people, and that's just the way that it is, unfortunately. So same thing with Sean Hannity and Tucker Carlson, and they are the ones that tend to have, I think, the best information and the best other journalists. John Solomon and Sarah Carter, I think they know what's going on. I think that they can't speak on some of this stuff, but they drop little hints, and that gets really exciting to those of us that follow Q. And even some of the terms that they use are kind of Q-isms and things that Q has been saying for a long time. So that gets really exciting because you're watching something on mainstream media, that's true and being honest and giving us little tidbits and, starting to crack this, starting to pierce the veil, if you will. And that's really exciting because we don't see that a lot. We see a lot of dishonesty. So, oh, speaking of dishonesty, something else that I came across in my media video, because I'm getting into kind of the whole Jussie Smollett thing and whatever. But I started to look into the Anti-Lynching Act that basically they were using the Jussie Smollett case to kind of push through. And that was very interesting to me because I had no idea what that meant. I was like talking to a few people that are smart, and I was asking them, I was like, listen, I don't get it. What is an Anti-Lynching Act? Because to me, forgive me, I know that this sounds really stupid, but I almost think that this is good that I'm very kind of ignorant and naive when it comes to this stuff because, well, number one, I'm probably making you feel very smart, but also because I'm sure there are a lot of people like me that just like, you know, like we hear things, we're like, oh, okay. And some of these things sound great on the surface, right? Wouldn't, like, yes, lynching is a bad thing, and so anti-lynching must be a good thing, and you know, who's gonna fight that or whatever. So I was messaging a few people being like, so what is this Anti-Lynching Act? Because isn't lynching already illegal? Like, you know, to me, if you look up the definition of lynching, it's like hanging somebody, right? God. And, you know, that's already illegal. So I went through and I found it today and I was going through it. And essentially what it is, it's basically like making new laws for hate crimes, things that are deemed hate crimes. So that was very interesting to me and also kind of scary. And I don't understand, I mean, not scary in the sense of, okay, of course, nobody wants hate crimes to happen. And you know, it's not to say that, you know, obviously racism is heinous and anybody that acts on racism is heinous and all of this. I just don't understand why people don't get that double standards are a pendulum that always you have the risk of that swinging back on you or whoever you're trying to protect, right? And I don't see why double standards are ever okay. To me, double standards are basically always evil. And I don't think that you can, I mean, if you've got something that's, to injure somebody or to harm them physically or to kill somebody, these things are already illegal, right? But to put the term on as a hate crime, who gets to decide what is a hate crime? Obviously, we all kind of feel like we're on the same page with that, but I think that's very naive. I think that's a very naive way to think because times do change. People's opinions do change. Sometimes the people that I feel very aligned with, that I think are very smart and get it, all of a sudden will start believing something that I think is kind of crazy. So you can't just rely on the fact that, oh, we all know very clearly what a hate crime is, and who's to, like, if we make up this term hate crime and we make new laws and new rules for these things, who gets to determine what that hate crime is? So that was something that I looked into today. I linked that below too. I just thought that was interesting and something that I wanted to share because I certainly didn't get it. Every time I heard anti-lynching, I was like too embarrassed to be like, but what does it mean? Well, today I looked it up. And now I'm going to go through some of these. Yes, the Anti-Murder Act. Don't we already have that? Isn't that already against the law? And really that's it. Maybe we just need to uphold the laws that we have better and, you know, not make new ones that only, you know, that protect more people or a certain group of people more than they protect other people, because that always has the danger of somebody changing, you know, the barriers down the line. So then the other thing that I was going to talk about, oh no, I already lost my list. Oh yeah, okay. Also, I put a link to this thread that I came across, and I did the thread reader app because I think that that's easier. So I linked that, and I think I linked the guy's Twitter. The guy's Twitter is, shoot, one free inhabitant, letter 1, free inhabitant, and that's his whatchamacallit, his Twitter account. But he's doing this thread and he keeps adding to it. I read it yesterday and then I noticed he added more today, and it still doesn't appear that he's done. And basically he is talking about essentially the people that follow Q kind of have this idea that again, it isn't, because it's not all about Trump, and I don't think that any of us really believe that Trump came up with this plan or whatever. Some people think he was recruited or in on it for a long time. I've seen the year 2012 thrown out there before, is that that's when he was recruited. That's when that's when military intelligence went to him with this plan and all of that. So this guy's take on it is that it wasn't 2012 maybe he has been groomed for this his entire life, and this plan is, you know, way longer in the making than we were talking about. So I thought that was an interesting theory. And he's got a lot of connections to Nikola Tesla, and there's a connection between Donald Trump's uncle John Trump and Nikola Tesla. And anything about Nikola Tesla always interests me because he was just so smart, and the things that he had invented would change the world if we had access to them. And, you know, I believe that's exactly why he, you know, I had never even heard his name until I was maybe like a teenager or something. We all hear about like Thomas Edison and all of that. So that's very interesting. His whole life seems very tragic, but this thread has a very different, very interesting point of view about how maybe he was still secretly being funded by some white hats, and how, you know, they might have some of this technology, and even though it's being suppressed to us through our, you know, through what we're taught, it's not even just the technology, it's the actual science. And some of the science that we have been taught, like the theory of relativity might be bogus also. So it's like even the foundation of the sciences that we're learning might be bogus. And think about how incredible that would be if E did not equal MC squared, as if I have any idea what that means. But I do know that it is a foundation for science. So you can give me that. The CBD oil that I like, I don't know the name of it, but maybe next time I will get you the name of it. But I like the one that I take, but I just kind of happened upon it. I don't really have a basis for, you know, anything else. And it's kind of expensive, so I don't know if it is more expensive than usual or if it's just kind of par for the course. I get it from a place in Las Vegas and have it shipped to me. But sometimes when I'm driving to the gym, there's like a little pop-up shop set up on the side of the road that says CBD. So I've been meaning to stop there and get a bottle from them and just see if I like it, because it would be nice if I didn't have to order it, because it does take a while to ship. So I get like 3 bottles at a time when I order it, because I don't really take it. I take it kind of regularly, but I also take it like if I'm having back pain, I'll take a little extra or whatever. So I don't really have a good timeline for ordering it, which is another reason why I'd like to have a place. You guys are missing the point of anti-lynching. They want to abolish lynching to get out of being publicly executed for treason. Okay, I hadn't thought of it that way. But it did seem, when I read it, to be specifically, you know, towards hate crimes. Yeah, maybe that's a good point. But I don't think that it doesn't really say anything about that. I don't know. That'd be something I'd have to think about. But I do like that theory. Anons were called by forces unknown. Trump, the generals, Q team, all the same, just earlier. Birds of a feather. It's really interesting to see how this has all come together, and even the Anons on 8chan, how they've been it has been a calling, and watching these people who are just gifted in some of the things that they do, and how these skills have maybe been sitting there just kind of untapped. You know, I'm sure maybe some of these people do have jobs related, but I am almost positive that most of them don't. So, yeah, but it's really cool to see how every single element is all a different cog, and how everybody's got a different kind of job in this. I mean, even down to you guys and me, every single one of us, whether it's just spreading information, because I do believe that at this point, the big stuff, the heavy lifting is already done. And I think the Q operation at this point is more about waking us up, getting us out of being as brainwashed as we are, to get us ready to accept the truths, because they couldn't just drop it all on our laps, I think. So I do think that the important element at this point is learning what's going on and helping share that information with others, whether it's, you know, talking to your friends about it or whatever. Yeah. The Trump Towers are a safe haven for the FBI and CIA agents to work out of around the world. I did think it was interesting that a lot of that one of the first criticisms of Trump when he first got in office was how he wasn't living in the White House and how he remodeled. And then to find out that he was being spied on, and that he might have been tipped off to that, and the remodeling and the not living in the White House was probably due to the fact that he knew that it was bugged. So, very interesting. I know Kate is onto so many things. I'm all over the place, but I get excited. And a lot of these things, I mean, like I said, everything's connected. So I have this, like, there's so much, I get tongue-tied when I think about doing these videos. I could probably sit here and do this like every night. But I also get kind of nervous because I don't want to go too far with stuff, because it's exciting, and part of me just wants to really go there with the things that I'm finding, but I also want to be very careful and not, you know, lead anyone astray, even though I do think that we are all sovereign human beings and everybody's kind of responsible for themselves and what they believe. It's a weird position to be in, to sit here and talk to the internet. Plus, I don't like showering every day. Well, I shower, I bathe, I'm clean, but I don't do my makeup and I don't do my hair. Eventually, I'm just gonna be doing these like with my hair in a towel with no makeup on, like as I shave my legs. Like, listen guys, the deep state. Shoot, I wasn't gonna say that. Censorship. I'm never gonna learn, it's fine. I'm not even worried about it, as long as, I don't care if none of my videos ever get monetized. I just don't want them to be stifled from views. But the best thing that you guys can do is, you know, if you ever see one of my videos that you think is worth sharing, just to share it. Because the whole point of this is just to get people talking about this stuff. I loved that, by the way. QAnon, tomorrow's news today. That was on one of my favorite Twitter accounts. What is it? L Enoch Lay, ELENOCHLE at ELENOCHLE. I hope I said that right. That was a good one. I laughed at that. You're welcome about my bathing schedule. Any thoughts on Obama connections to the spying? My thoughts are, I don't believe that it was happening without his knowledge. I think that I don't know. I think the plot thickens. And a lot of us, you know, a lot of the things that we're seeing now, Q has been, like, a lot of us are prepared for all of this stuff because Q has been saying this for like a year. So, yeah, I'm probably not going to do a live show while shaving. Mythical, if that is how I say your name. Do it. If you're thinking about doing a channel, do it. Honestly, everybody's got a different, you know, piece to bring to this, and these conversations are important, and there is no, even the people that are doing a great job at covering this stuff, there's no way they can cover it all. And I really do think that some of this stuff is going to start, we're in a place that we don't really have a choice but for things to start kind of ramping up. And once that happens, people are going to be looking for information all over the place. And although we do have a good amount of people out there already with channels and stuff, they are going to be overwhelmed with taking on all of the people that are going to be searching for this information and all the different topics. And eventually we are going to need to take over the crap that is on television, minus Game of Thrones, which Game of Thrones is ending, so it's fine. That is the one TV that I watch. But eventually we're going to need to have like a Bravo style TV channel, at least one channel, where it's just dedicated to all of this stuff. Like, think the History Channel, but true. And I will do drunken history on, but the topic will be aliens. Somebody once likened hanging out with me to that. They said that hanging out with me was like watching, what is it, drunk history, only the topic is aliens and I'm sober. Snowball is rolling. There's no stopping it. That's true. It's getting exciting. It's been getting exciting for a long time, but it's really to the point now that that Mueller report is now out of the way. The president is no longer on defense. He is on offense, and I do think that that is going to get very interesting. Drunk history does roll. It kind of sucks that some of those people suck. I have a really hard time now with celebrities, and I know that's not good because not every celebrity is bad, but I don't know, they're just also tainted to me. I can't watch anything. Award shows make me gag. I was even scrolling on my Twitter, it was like the Time, Time magazine had some kind of event recently, and I'm just looking at it, I'm like, God, it like suffocates me that people care about that stuff. And that was me. That was me not too long ago. I cared deeply about the Real Housewives, you guys. And I knew everything about their lives, and I can definitely see how that is a tactic to keep us occupied and just to keep our brains mushy, like veal piccata. It was getting no exercise, my brain. It's no wonder I'm a big dummy. So, and now I hate it. I can't even watch TV or even movies, or I mean, I was watching documentaries for a while. Even those are pretty tainted. Like, once you know that Netflix has some pretty bad people sitting on the board, you can't even really trust the documentaries so much, because why would they let something true through if it was going to be harmful to them? So is Kate really awakened? I don't know. It feels like I'm getting there. I don't think it's like a one and done thing. I think it is a process that for the rest of my life I might be on. We're gonna have to relearn everything. Like, think about what I was saying with, the theory of relativity. What if these fundamental things that we just all know, we have to relearn, and then we have to build on that for forever? We're gonna need new schools. We're gonna need new TV. We're gonna need a new Andy Cohen. So we really need to get rid of the old one. He sucks. Yes, Susan Rice on the board of Netflix. That's going to be in my media video. And her connections and all these people that are in bed together. Yeah, and what's the take on Star Wars and Disney? Oh man. I mean, Disney, I think we can safely say, has had some very it's very questionable. Even before I was looking at things with my eyes open, in fact, I wasn't even allowed to watch Disney when I was little because my dad thought it was terrifying and had some bad, creepy messages. And he was right. I think that and I used to live by Disneyland. I used to have a pass. I would go there every single day, literally. And now it scares me. I don't know. I don't trust it. Star Wars, again, I am such a Star Wars geek. Grew up watching, Star Wars was on a loop in our house, nonstop. Everyone in my family loved it. So I don't know, that's gonna really stink, I think, when it comes to if we find out that, a lot of this pop culture, like everything in our culture, has something bad behind it. Well, we don't necessarily have to, Star Wars is very creative and, also might have some truth hiding in plain sight. I don't know, maybe there is a Jabba the Hutt character out there. Salacious Crumb, I think I know a few descendants of a Salacious Crumb type character. I used to say that the girl from, what was the show with that Rob guy that was a skateboarder and he would show clips of people just biffing it? Anyway, the girl on there used to remind me of Salacious Crumb because she just used to sit there and giggle with this like terrible laugh. But yeah, it'll be a bummer, but what can we do? Some of those things, it's kind of like the historical novels that have racism in them, I think. Because yes, we know that there's bad stuff in here, but we don't, these still are important to our culture, I guess. So rather than doing a book burning or a Netflix burning or a DVD burning and whatever, maybe we just kind of learn from the past and use these things as a cautionary tale. Once we find out how, and again, there might be good people that, are in the industry. I grew up in LA, well, outside of LA, but I grew up, I was an actress when I was a kid, and, nothing ever happened to me, so it's not everybody, I don't think, and it's not happening to everybody, but I think that the industry definitely is. Gross! Yeah, Bib Fortuna, I found a Bib Fortuna mug in an antique store, and I am still kicking myself to this day for not buying it. It was the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life. It would be so great to have somebody at your house and be like, yeah, let me get you some coffee, and pull out your Bib Fortuna mug. It was like it wasn't just drawn on there, it was like shaped like his head with the shit everywhere. Your Bloodlines video, Rob? Watch your Bloodlines video to learn more about the Force. Is that in there? I've watched your Bloodlines video, I think, before. I don't know if you're talking to somebody else. Maybe I didn't, maybe I missed one. Or maybe I'm just not remembering that, but yeah, see, Edge of Wonder, they're always trying to like steal my followers because nobody cares about their channel, and I have so many people. I've got 66 people watching this right now. Stop trying to siphon off my followers, Rob, that came from you anyway. I did see the pedophile agenda being pushed in the California schools. I did watch that video. That was really sick. Yeah, it's very scary how much control the education system has. That's another video I want to do, is basically like, when the Board of Education was created and how education has really declined since then, and how we've just become a really stupid nation, and how they don't crank out, they don't teach you how to think, they teach you what to think, and I think that would be a really great topic to cover at some point. Yes. Do I touch the tip of my nose with my tongue? I don't think so. There's could you, and then there's should you. Bib Fortuna mug, thanks. Thanks, Mom. Everybody say hi to my mom. I don't really need it. Although I did have a roommate and we used to collect ugly mugs. And it was a really fun game as roommate games go, because you would just, like, we wouldn't announce it when we would get a really new ugly one, so you'd open up the cupboard and then you would see something heinous. I think she inherited most of those when we moved out. I didn't really get anything good. I got like a Sylvester the Cat mug, which is just really ugly. I got a Hanukkah mug, which was pretty ugly, but I think we had some really good ones. I can't remember what any of them were. Oh, yep. Everybody's saying hi to Mom. Yeah, Dewey Decimal System. Rob, did you do a video on that? And then you've got, what's it called? Common Core Math is insane. And now I've just heard that there's something called Common Core, what is it? Something else they're doing Common Core that isn't math. It's crazy. I can't understand. I mean, like, that would be a good video to get into that. Yep, good old Mom. I think, oh yeah, so then I got off on that tangent because I was talking about this thread. So go check out that thread on Twitter when you get a chance. It's pretty long. It's like over 100 and something tweets, but that thread reader app makes it a lot easier. I love that app. And I believe all you do is go into somebody that has a thread and like tweet at them to please unroll this or whatever, and then they just do it for you automatically. It's pretty cool. And it makes my life very, very, a lot easier, because having to click on each tweet and whatever stinks. Did I say the F word? I don't think I said the F word. If I did, pardon me. I try very hard not to swear on this channel, but I'm not very good at it. I am the best YouTuber to address comments because I have 4 people watching. So it's very easy to keep up with them. Well, I think that was it. Those were all the topics that I had. So unless you guys have any questions, this might be it. I always think like, oh, I'll go hop on really quick. It'll be like a quick 20 minutes. And then no matter what, it always ends up being an hour. I don't know why. But my regular videos, I do try to keep to like 20 minutes, which is another reason why I'm doing the media video in 2 parts, because I can't cover all of the bull honky going on in the media in 20 minutes. Yeah, so. Sailor Kate. I don't still live in California. I live in Arizona now. I got out of California. It was starting to scare me. All right, guys. Well, thank you again. Be ready for the trolls to come in here probably within the next week or so. And I'm going to make a few more of you probably moderators. So the next time, if you're in here and you see a little wrench next to your name, know that that's why. Have I had any experiences with Ascended Master? I have not. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. And how do you deal with trolls? I don't know. I don't know. I wish I knew. Somebody might be able to tell you. I think you can click a button or whatever and mute them or whatever. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Maybe I'll be able to tell you more next time. I'm very, very new to YouTube, and I don't really get it. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much.